All right, so welcome to another episode of the Canucks Chatter podcast. I am Rafal, that is Victor. Before we talk hockey and the Vancouver Canucks, happy Halloween. Today is Halloween. By the time this airs on YouTube, it'll probably be November, but regardless.
Cheap candy day.
Cheap candy day, yeah, you get in there. You know, I was at a lot of drugs today, and some of those small boxes are kind of expensive, you know, like 20-something bucks. So... yeah, you know, wait till tomorrow.
I should have brought my costume today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I went as a ceiling fan.
Okay, a ceiling fan, nice.
Yeah.
That did you just buy it or did you put some?
No, I just wrote on a piece of paper. Go ceiling. Ceiling is number one.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. Nice. I got a Halloween party tomorrow. I got to figure out what I'm gonna wear. I have no idea. But anyways,
you can be my ceiling. Take my idea.
Yeah, that's true. Man. That's a simple one.
I
got a couple ideas.
Zero work.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking for something with zero work. I don't have no outfits.
I printed it off using the printer at work and then put it in.
There you go.
I didn't win the costume contest at work though.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as you got I don't want to be that guy who's not wearing something. You know, it's just kind of lame.
Just wear your hockey equipment.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to smell that. It's not. All right. Yeah. So since last week, Canucks couple of games. What did they get? 3 points in 3 games. If that's correct. Yeah. They played Penguins, Hurricanes, Devils.
Nice little Southeast homestand, and it went from good, bad, ugly.
Yeah, I mean, the first game is the Penguins aren't a good team, you know, it's hard to read a lot into it. Canucks got the job done. You know, we obviously know what happened. That was last night against the Devils. But I think even in the last 2 games, they were outplayed both games. I think they were really lucky to get a point out of the Carolina game. What do you think?
Yeah. Outside of the first period, I thought they hung right in there with obviously the better team.
Yeah.
And thank God for Kevin there saving the life for the team, and that's what you can ask. All you can ask for of him, and they kept it in there. And I don't know what Kiyachkev was doing on that game time goal.
I looked at all the goals, even. Obviously we know that you're up by 1 for Carolina and he comes flying out of the net. I was like, this is a strange thing to do at the time. Totally not even close. They scored the goal, but even the Quinn Hughes shot, he's got a bomb from the point, Hughes. But
now he has a bomb.
Yeah, now he has a bomb. But I mean, I looked at that replay where the puck went in the net. It went almost in the middle of the net. The Kochetkov was way off his angle and it just went through him.
Yeah.
And
it was almost like he didn't track it because it was off a broken
for sure.
play.
Definitely didn't track it, but it was weird if it's at his right point, he kind of started to slide to the left and it just went through him. But anyway, and then last game 6-0.
I was at that game and
you were. I think I was going to ask.
They were filing it out around 18 minutes left in the third.
Whoa.
They didn't wait for the goal. They went the 4-0, 5-0. Not even at 4-0, people are filing out.
It's those rich folks in the lower bowl. They're like, I'm not worried about the money. Wouldn't be me, but
the upper bowl was leaving for once. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, it was a pretty. The first period wasn't awful for them, but it just went downhill.
I saw that Tyler Myers getting caught nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
It happened right in front of me. So we were going to, both my friend and I went, what just happened? They had they had an offensive zone face-off. Next thing you know, it's a 2-on-1 the other way. I don't know how that.
He just made a neutral zone a pinch or aggressive play for no reason and got nobody.
And the puck went in between, and he didn't. He started going for it and then backed up, and then threw a body check on Pettersson getting back. And
that was just giving New Jersey a 2-on-1. It's like, hey, you want a 2-on-1? There you go. There you are.
Yeah, Usually you'd think it was a stretch pass or something, but no, it's just a weird. It was the previous 4 seasons of Tyler Myers.
Yeah, that was a strange play on top of. I mean, there was other missed assignments and missed plays on the other goals. That one was like probably the most just what the heck is going on here.
Last night was bad. There was 2 players who were not a minus player. Jake DeBrusk and Philip Hronek. Everyone else was at least a -1. Tyler Myers was a -3.
Yeah, I mean, when you lose 6-0, there's going to be a lot of minuses. There's not really no chance for a plus.
How those 2 ended up not a minus.
I don't know. Sneaky line change, maybe.
I know Hughes was a -1 because of an awful JT Miller drop pass at the blue line.
Oh yeah, that was the power play where he just sort of kind of pointed down, I'm going to go here, and then a little too just casual. I mean, we'll get into the power play in a sec. We'll talk about that. So just thinking about these last couple of games. I mean, it's hard to judge Vancouver because in a way, I don't think they've really played their game really. Like they haven't looked like a full 60 where you just see that their brand of hockey, their style they want to play. They haven't played that. They haven't played particularly great lately.
Florida game was probably the closest.
Yeah, probably the closest of where they want to play consistently, but they haven't really played that game yet. And I mean, credit. I mean, the good. That's the bad news. Good news is they're still finding a way to get some points. I mean, technically they have 2 regulation losses, 3 overtime losses, and 4 wins. So it's not like dire situation.
But sky isn't falling yet.
No, not at all. I mean, it's still so much time. But there's, like when I look at the roster, I'm like, I can probably think of like 3 players that have been playing, like have been good, have looked really good, and those have been Hughes, Sherwood, and Lankinen.
Yeah.
Like there's some other players that have played good, but like just not consistent. But those guys have just been like good. Everyone else is like okay.
But it's all the bottom 6. It's the bottom 6 that look better. And would throw Garland in there.
Oh yeah, Garland. Yeah, for sure. I think Garland actually was what I was going to say, other than Sherwood. But yeah, Sherwood as well. I think he's been pretty good. So I'll give you those 4. But other than that, it's like. I mean, when you look at outside of Hughes, like your star players need to be your star players, and they just lately they haven't been.
They haven't. Like JT Miller has not. He has not gotten the same criticism that Pettersson has. Yes, Miller is dealing with an injury. We all know that, but yet Pettersson also never. Oh, he's healthy. No, because it was a few years ago when he was putting up these kinds of numbers where he didn't look the same. He had a wrist injury that was bothering him for months, and then once that healed, he started going all world again.
So here's my question: is if that's true, which it seems like it is, or Pettersson's injured right now, why is he playing?
It's probably a thing where he's hurt but not injured. You can play hurt, but you can't play injured. I think both. They're both.
But he's not very effective, right? Like he's not been effective, and like why not? I don't know what the injury is, but like why not just sit him for a little bit, see if that helps? Because a continuous play is not going to help the injury, whatever it is, and it doesn't seem like it's helping. Like he's, and it's just making it worse in terms of like the fans looking at his cap hit and his play.
Yeah, it's the same thing with JT Miller. He can't take faceoffs right now. His 2-way game hasn't cratered, but hasn't looked the same.
No.
I don't know if it's an upper body with him or a lower body. Even all the metrics have shown both of them have not played up to par. Where, like, not even just how zone coverage is how they're moving. Been a big difference. Yesterday was the first time where Miller actually got demoted by Talkett, where Pettersson's been has been singled out. But yes, first time you've seen Miller, and he's got to deserve the same criticism. They both do.
Yeah, for sure. Though they neither of them have been good enough. But like players play through injuries, and I think with a style that Miller plays, you can kind of see, that he's a guy maybe who can play through injuries. Pettersson, if it is, it just doesn't. I don't know. I just wonder if it really is. That's the reason why he's playing the way he is. Um,
I,
I don't think that's the sole reason, but that could be a huge reason. Then just find a way to make that settle
we
down.
won't know. We won't know.
Yeah, no, we won't know. But I
They
mean, it's just
they
I don't know.
they're not going to tell us us even though I have to say they I don't they're both injured. It's, they've shown over the course of their career. It's well, at least that's Canucks. No, in Miller's case, they show when they're good. They're good, and to me, they haven't looked. They haven't been healthy, and they just keep getting thrown out there. But you have to keep throwing them out there. What are you gonna do? Not play your two best centers?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't just shelf both of them, but like
Yeah,
I think you can't just we can't always just look at them and be like, oh, the reason why they're playing bad is because they're injured, right? Like
you can't just
sometimes
go.
you just play bad, right? Like
Hey, Islanders, can we borrow Bo Horvat for a couple weeks?
yeah, I was gonna say that's what they need on the power play is a little Bull Horvat right now.
Can't go. Hey, San Jose, you're not in the playoffs. Can we borrow Mark Macklin Celebrini for a few weeks?
Yeah,
Even though he's hurt right now.
yeah, I'm sure every team would love to do that. All right, well, should we get into the power play a little bit? I mean, we had a question from Nick
Yeah, we did ask
DiPaolo.
earlier for some questions, and we did get one sent in. And why don't you read it out?
Yeah, so what we were just about to talk about it. What to do about the power play? Change in personnel or strategy deployment? I think one of the obvious things that I could see watching the power play is it's just too slow. The puck's got to be zipping faster around. When you move the puck around faster, because every penalty kill on the opposition, you have where you're supposed to stand, what you're supposed to do. And when the opposite power play is predictable, you can keep in your formation. But if you zip the puck faster, that formation starts to kind of crumble, and that's where you get those seams. And I just, sometimes the players just can't, see it. And I think they just need to move it around a little faster. Sometimes it's a little bit taking too long. And obviously the other obvious one is the entries. Sometimes they're just not looking good at all. What do you think?
Yeah, something very much along those lines. Thank you, Nick DiPaolo, for that question. And this, I have no idea. You have 200-point scorers, a 40-goal scorer, someone a 30-goal scorer, and a Norris Trophy winner on that power play. You would think your power play would be very good, elite. Yeah. One of the things I was saying once, how they set up. If they're gonna have Miller on the left flank, that's where you should have DeBrusque or whomever is in the bumper slot should be a left-hand shot there. And if you move it over to the right side, where Pedersen is, that should have that's when the movement of the net front guy, that Besser should be there. So you give him two looks each time instead of just having that same guy. And there's a lack of movement there. Everyone's just standing still, waiting for that clapper or that quick pass. Like no one is willing to shoot. It's all five. It's movement and lack of shooting. Like I'm not saying they should just get it somewhere and just shoot it blindly. Power plays don't run like that anymore.
No, but like you're onto something too. I think if things aren't clicking on the power play, sometimes the easiest thing to do is just get the puck on net, but get traffic there. To create havoc and not get the goalie to see it. Rebounds, things like that.
Quick passes and movement. It's
yeah.
I'm not a coach, Roger. Not saying I am, but just from what I can view, everyone's very static.
Yeah, it just feels a little slow to me. Like they're not, if you look back at, when their power play is clicking, just watch clips of it, you'll see how much faster the puck moves around. I mean, it's still early. I mean, I'm just looking at the power play percentages around the league. Like there's teams that are really good. Edmonton, Tampa, Boston, Toronto, they're all in the bottom third of the league, right? It's still early. Vancouver's close to there. They're at 17%. But stylistically, Edmonton and Tampa Bay are teams that are great on the power play, and they're on the bottom. So there's time. But
Tampa's missing their trigger man nowadays.
Well, one of their trigger man, yeah, for sure. That's Stamkos. But a lot of power play goals, they get it from point. And Kucherov is, outside of maybe McDavid, probably best power play player. I mean, he just makes incredible
There's that
plays.
guy in Colorado who's probably just as good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we can have a whole talk about Colorado. I mean, their power play is still top 3 at 35%, but boy,
Cale
they're
Makar is having a Quinn Hughes like season.
could be the other way around of last year, but I mean, both two of the best defensemen. Boy, you gotta feel for Colorado. Those injuries, I can't remember the last time I've seen somebody have.
I feel bad for the players, but not for the team. They have their cup.
That's true. They do have their cup, but man, having 6 of your top 9 injured, that's insane. That is insane.
In the and Nichushkin in the mental health program.
Yeah, I think it was like substance abuse but I hope for the best for him, and because he's a great player. Love to see good players like that play and pull through.
The Canucks power play. I mean, they should, because it rolls through Hughes and Miller, who at least Hughes is shooting more this year. Miller just never shoots.
Yeah, he usually gets that traffic with that shot, or he looks for that high tip, which he sometimes gets with Besser going in the net. But
it worked well last year when he came downhill. He would spin out. Hughes would come down, give it to him. He'd come downhill, whether for a shot or a pass.
Yep.
And they're just not going to the open spots. Like when I'm there, I'm seeing teams. They're almost in a triangle where Pettersson never does have an open shot. There's someone in front of him almost every single time.
Yeah.
Where they'll let the pass go to him, but it's not like he gets a chance. Someone's right in front of him. There are times where someone's stopping the pass from him getting to him too.
Yeah.
And that's where he's got to have movement.
Yeah, because that was one of the big things of the power play too, is that threat for the one-timer, right? You try to cover that, the other side's open. Right now, it's just there's not many threats. Interesting stat that I was reading at today. Can't pull it up, but it was talking about Pettersson's shot speed this season so far. And last season, it's his his hardest shot this year has been I think 83 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And when last year he had so many above 90. Yeah. And he's only had 1 over 80. That's a huge difference. And maybe that's injury. Maybe that's him not shooting enough because he doesn't seem confident in his shot. I mean, there was that chance against New Jersey.
Yeah, he won the hardest shot contest last year at the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a clapper, and if it's not going as hard this year, injured.
But he's not really getting off his clapper, right? I haven't really seen it much at all. Yeah. His wrist shot yesterday.
Been to 3 games, and there's no room for him out there.
No, but hey, look, I mean,
he did have a good chance last night at the end of the period. He walked in. He
shot it right in the goalie's chest.
Yeah, that's how I shoot, right into the goalie's chest from that far out.
Yeah, I mean, he's they're going to target, the opposition's always going to target the top player, so he's got to find a way to fight that and create more. He's just not creating enough. Yeah, another player.
It's coaching too. They have to get a better system on the power play.
For sure, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, they have to. I really feel like it's a lot got to do with them just moving the puck faster. Sometimes you just
very
can't.
Static.
It is very static, and that's the thing. It's much easier for penalty killers to read what's going on, and you got to kind of get them off their game to move it a little quicker. And they're just not seeing it right now. They're not, they're not looking cohesive. You need that cohesiveness to kind of get those passes off, and they just look a little bit off.
Yeah. There's nothing. It's an internal fix. We've gone through all of. We've all seen that. The other part which we thought was going to be a strength, goaltending. And Kevin Lankinen, great. Kevin's been great. He's saving him, looking like a number 1.
Yeah.
But Shelov's in
not looking good.
2 of his 3 starts has not looked good. Both home starts he's had. He's given up 6 goals. Could you fault him for any of the 6 goals yesterday?
Not really.
He could have probably stopped them, but none of them were egregious or just awful goals. He just he didn't make the save. He has struggled. I know he's a young guy, and that should he be in the NHL? Possibly, because yeah, but he's kind of where he needs a little bit more than a backup. But when you put him in, he kind of plays okay, and he he maybe not be as good when he's backing up and if he plays regularly. But the NHL is not where you need to refine your game.
No, that's what you do in the minors. He's he hasn't. I mean, you'd like some of, like you said, you'd like some of those to be saved, but if you don't score a couple goals, you're not winning the game anyway. So you don't hang it on him at all. I don't think
he wasn't the reason they lost, but
he wasn't
he did not help.
No, I mean it's only 3 games, but his stats: 5 goals against average, 797 save percentage, not good.
Yesterday he was not good. Like you could see the game plan was just shoot it on him. There was shots they would just fire it from the point. Anything below the circles, he seemed to make the save, but they were just whipping pucks from the point and weird angles, and he was fighting the puck.
Oh yeah, I think sometimes it's his glove side that I've noticed, and I wonder if that's something that teams can kind of exploit if they look at the video. Is even in the game against Carolina, I forget who it was that walked down the left side, took a shot from far out, and it hit the post, and he was just way towards his right side of the net and had a lot left open, and that was kind of like the Myers goal last night, where he shot it through Tyler Myers' legs. Yeah. Top shelf, yeah. But even looking back at it, he just was a little bit cheating to one side. Now, it was a great shot, so even if he is centered, maybe that still goes in, but I just didn't like the angle on that.
Yeah, the 2-on-1 goal, that was a nice shot by Heischer.
Yeah, held on to it, and
But by the third period, you could tell his confidence was low.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Yuri Patera is going to be much more of an upgrade, but maybe Sheloff does need to go down. He's
23. Yeah. He's 23 too. Goalies typically take a lot longer.
Who missed a year, or because of the COVID year.
Yeah, I mean still affects something. We'll see. Young guy. I mean, you have to. I think I was looking at Demko possibly 2-3 weeks away. So you have to find something. I mean, you need those backups.
Also be 2-3 weeks away from being 2-3 weeks away.
Yeah, that's also another thing. So you need something there, a little bit of stability in the back end, but the team's got to play better in front of whatever goalie they have, because when a guy's that young, you can't hang out.
Kevin's been all world so far.
He's been great. Yeah, boy, if we would have a totally different conversation if he wasn't playing well. Oh, that'd be then there would be panic, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just what early in the season. And maybe he'll play his way out, but if Demko is 2-3 weeks away, maybe ride Lankinen for most of that and send Shelovs down and call up Patera, or Topolov. Maybe he can fill in every now and then just to see what it's like.
How many games has Patera played in the NHL? I'm gonna pull that up. So he's played 8 games in the NHL. Ooh, that's hard to throw in there too. I mean, he's a little bit older.
And he did not look good in the preseason.
No, I mean, I'm looking at his stats this season. He's only been in 4 games in the AHL. He's got an 896 save percentage, 2.73. Not very good.
How's he been?
I'll have to pull it up.
I know he got a break last night when they played Tucson.
I mean,
I think best wishes to Mark Friedman, who got taken out on a nasty play.
Oh yeah, that's scary. That should be suspendable play.
Yeah.
5 games. I mean, he's hasn't been much better either. 880 save percentage. So you're probably sticking with what you have right now.
With the minors,
the team's got to play better. Yeah, it's different.
With minor league goalies, their stats are going to be a little bit rougher.
For sure. But I mean, just looking at their ages too, I don't know if you want to throw them in there. They're all similar, right? Like 23, 24, 25, all 3 of those guys. I think you just, probably for now, you have to try to makeshift it, and hopefully it's okay, and you just got to play better.
Yeah, hopefully Kevin keeps us up.
Yeah.
Our goalie guru Greg Ballack and Kevin Woodley have both said that they've seen it in him. The team's seen it in him. That's why they put him on a priority list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been good. He's been huge for them. The team's just got to clean up some things, play better. They got an easy schedule coming up right now, if I remember correctly.
It's a road trip through California. Got San Jose Saturday, and then Monday it's going to be Anaheim, or Tuesday's Anaheim, and Thursday's LA.
Yeah, so I'm thinking you got to at least get, the goal is to get at least 4 points there in those 3 games.
Yeah. And hope this road trip hopefully will be a cure for Jake DeBrusk, who
I was
looking for his first marker on the year.
Yeah, I mean, like I barely notice him, to be honest. You'll notice him a little bit, like parts of a game, but really not much. It just hasn't.
He did not work well with Petey, and he looked a lot better with Miller, where he was driving the net.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the type of player he is. Like, if DeBrusk is a guy who drives the net, he's physical. He's not a fancy guy by any stretch, and I mean, it's hard because Pettersson, he's got to drive a line, right? And if he's not, then it's
okay right now without Pettersson driving the line, because Garland is such a puck heavy person. And
yeah,
I'd seen previous years where like Garland wants the puck on his stick, so does Petey. So that's why they haven't worked well together. But they've been good for the few games that they've been put together until last night. So, but the DeBrusk having to go, that's 2 lines now where he hasn't been able to score. And do you want him on the 4th line? Because that 3rd line,
no, you don't want him.
Sherwood, Bluger, and Heinen is working out well right now. Oh, or do you even move Sherwood up a line?
You definitely don't put him on the 4th line. The $5.5 million player is not going to be on the 4th line. Yeah, it's a tough one because like the 3rd line has kind of been their line that's, like you said, a little bit consistent, and you kind of trust them over the boards. Yeah, I think he's got to find. I mean, even like last year, he had 40 points in 80 games. So what is he on pace for here? 10 games, 4 points. 4 times 8? What's 4 times 8?
32.
Yeah, 32. So a little bit under. I mean, he's not a guy who gets an insane amount of points, but you're right. Like he doesn't look effective really at all. And
he's brought in the VPD's wingman. Hasn't done that. Power play. Yeah, he is on a new team. Also, if their top 2 players are struggling with injury, and he's trying to get some chemistry with him, very different.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a tough situation to be in. Good news, I think, for Vancouver is he's always been a playoff performer, so I think they're going to hope that that kind of pans out.
Yeah.
And this is...
And he's obviously fighting a stick. Players are the hardest on themselves, so I don't think we're going to see Louis Eriksson terribleness, but
no,
it's beginning of the year, so I think he's got a track record of scoring and getting points. Not overly concerned right now, but not happy with it.
Yeah, I mean that's down the list of importance of what I think the Canucks fans and ultimately the coaching staff and management are hoping to get going. And that's
one of the things I think maybe reunite the Lotto line. Yeah, it takes away from your center, but maybe Atu Ratu can come up, and because he's defensively not too bad. He's responsible. He wins a lot of faceoffs. Offs have him maybe drive the second or third line. Bluger can be moved up.
But I mean, like ultimately, these are like temporary things, right? Come playoff time, like you're not having those players play in the top 6. It's just not a recipe to go anywhere.
Ratu's a high end prospect. Maybe he can be a top 6 guy.
Yeah, but he hasn't established it yet, right? Like we don't know what it is. You have to
get a chance. I'm a proponent always of giving young guys a chance. Throw them to the wolves. Some of these guys have been high end prospects. Like Ratu was touted as a number 1 pick in in his draft year, and he fell to the second round. So, well, he obviously he has talent.
Well, if you're gonna throw him in, then you throw him in now to see what you have, because you're not gonna wait till later and because come playoff time it's not just about the offense; it's about a full 60 game and.
Even last year in Game 7, what was it? I was okay with throwing Lekaramaki in there. Like, score some goals. That's what Lekaramaki's known for.
Yeah, but I think it's the other side. Like, I think that's probably what Tocchet is thinking too. It's not the offense. Like the coaches, those coaches don't. There's tons of offensive players in the NHL that don't play much, just because.
There's one on the Canucks, Daniel Sprong.
Yeah, exactly. It's because it's. How it normally works is you have your top 6, or you have certain guys that are just not. They're not going to go down the lineup. Or if they do, it's just for a game or two. You have your Millers or your Pettersson, Besser, all that kind of, like, those type of players. They're always going to be your top 6, especially come playoff time. Sure, they go through stretches. Maybe you'll put them down, but that's where they are. Then you have those depth players that kill penalties. Some of them are physical, defensive zone faceoffs, things like that. And the young offensive guys, like, you need to let them develop and round out their full game, because even if he comes up and plays some, has some spurts of offense, and you don't see the other side, like, Tocchet's not going to look at him and be like, oh, he's got 7 points.
That's
and
the thing.
Whatever.
It's such a concern about defense. It takes the offense out of them. And some of these guys have come up as offensive guys, and then they're forced to play
the NHL.
So much defense.
That's what it is. It's
a
hard.
You're a star. Yeah. You should be given a chance to perform. Like Ovechkin, and not comparing these guys to Ovechkin, but he's not very good defensively. But
no,
but he's getting a chance. Yeah, he's one of the best goal scorers ever played the game. But defense is important. I think you have to be, as long as you're trustworthy. But they get thrown in and they make one mistake and it's fourth line or no minutes. And on not even terrible mistakes, it's a simple thing, and they have to be given some leeway to press up. Like, if it's an ongoing thing, they have to learn. But if they make one mistake and to the bench, like when Luc Bourdon came up as a 19-year-old, he would make a mistake and he would see the bench for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
man. And he was starting to pick it up towards the end of his second season there, and he was going to be a regular in the lineup, and because he was starting to play more loosely, and the mistakes were less, and these youngsters, it's league wide. It's not just signaling out Ratu or Höglander. It's NHL in general. Sometimes they have to let these young guys
for sure
learn from their mistakes.
I definitely don't disagree with you. I think as a young player, you need to. I mean, that's how you learn, right? You just come out and know how to play the right way all the time. But I think it's really team dependent, right? If you're playing for a San Jose or a Montreal, you got all the leeway. I mean, you look at Lane Hudson in Montreal, who's on for many, many goals against. He gets stripped of the puck, but you see flashes of the brilliance.
Yeah.
But on a team, and I'd put Vancouver in this, if you're trying to contend for the Stanley Cup, it's a little bit less appetite, I think, for that from Vancouver's coaching staff.
You can't put them out there all. Look at right now.
They need the points, right? Like
Myers and Susie, who are not very good.
No.
And what do they? They're getting chance after chance. Yeah, they've proven it over the years, but right now both of them are fighting the puck.
Yeah.
They're making poor decisions of it's just off the boards and out and losing possession. They're making bad reads. They're fighting the puck. When they get in the puck, it's like it just bounces off their stick. They got to control it, and they lose it, and then the cycle starts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, would you, talking about the defensive side, would you switch up any of the pairings?
I would throw Brandstrom in with Myers just to see how it works.
Yeah, I mean, like on the second pairing, or would you
Yeah,
drop it to?
on
Yeah,
the second pairing, and Susie plays with mix of Desharnais, Forboard, and Juleson. Like,
yeah,
Juleson didn't. Uh, I'll give Juleson a pass for yesterday because everyone looked bad.
yeah. It's hard to pull anything out of the game last
Normally
night.
he's pretty reliable back there in short spurts. He's a good penalty killer.
Hmm.
And the Susie need to sit. And once Forboard gets back in, as I'm not benching Brandstrom right now. He didn't have the best
No,
game
yeah,
last night, but he still you still notice him and
yeah,
bring the puck from behind the net or out of the corner and move it out of the zone where every, everyone else not named Hughes and Hronik, it's off the boards and out, or
yeah,
it's a
yeah. You
rough
need that.
pass for the forward.
I mean, he basically is just staying in because he's the only other guy that can do that outside of Hughes, like you said. Yeah, I think obviously they picked him up via trade. They're gonna have to find another defenseman at some point.
But
Whether that's
defensemen
close.
like that are going to cost a lot of prospects and
Yeah.
draft pick capital. They don't.
Well, it depends.
That's
What do
why
you, what do you
defensemen are always is needed at the deadline.
for sure, right? And I guess it depends what they're looking for. Are they looking for a depth defenseman because you can get those for later round picks? Does that help them much? I don't think so.
It's a top four guy is what they're looking for. I don't know what's
Yeah, so
out there
that's
right
that's a
now.
pretty big that's a big price because all the contenders are going to be looking for a top four guy, you know.
Yeah,
And
and
so
it's too
if they
early
don't
to
show up,
see
then
who's available, who's not available.
yeah, way too early. But that's one of the sides that I think worries me about Vancouver is their defense come playoff time. You know, I mean, all right, I guess Edmonton made the finals with their defense, so anything's possible. But they also have the best, player in the world. So
Yeah,
that's not a recipe for success.
another top 10 guy in Draisaitl.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wouldn't look at that and try to be like, hey, that's something we're going to try to do. So
Yeah,
anyway,
McDavid
yeah.
hides a lot of flaws for people.
Oh yeah, so many. I mean, it's you just take him. I mean, he's out now. He's injured for
Yeah,
a couple weeks, so we'll see what
yeah.
happens.
Let's see how Draisaitl can have an MVP season like Malkin did all those years when Crosby
Yeah,
was going through his concussion issues.
yeah.
Malkin was an MVP. He dominated. He led the Penguins to stay on top. So
I'm
it's
just
Draisaitl's turn to show that he's just not super elite because he plays beside. He's got McDavid on his team.
so
It's
I'm
his
just
turn to
look
carry.
so I'm just looking at because they Oilers played the Predators today. Looked at Draisaitl. It's the first game McDavid not here. 2 goals, 1 assist, 3
Good
points.
for him. Good.
So
That's good on
good
him.
start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about around the NHL before we wrap it up here? Trying to think if anything really notable happened.
I want to give Columbus some props for how they're
Hmm.
playing right now. Like
Yeah,
after going through the tragedy that they're going, they're treading water. The team was not that good to begin with, but what they're doing right now,
they're a
not being the
hard-working
worst team
team.
in the league. Yeah,
Yeah, they're like watching them play. Like obviously, like you said, they don't have as the most skill, but like I think it's Dean Evison is their coach, right?
yeah.
And
I think
they're just working. They're just working really hard on the ice. They have a good forecheck, so
yeah.
good on them.
Give Don Waddell, the general manager, some credit for keeping the team together.
Hmm.
They they definitely he deserve recognition.
Yeah, yeah. No, they're looking good. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's still early. I wonder by what's that? They always say American Thanksgiving is where you kind of
Yeah,
see where your team is at in terms of
yeah.
whatever the percentages are. Those teams in the playoff spot by then usually make the playoffs. So yeah, we'll see how things shape up.
Coming up, let's hope the Canucks do well on this California road trip beginning
Yeah,
Saturday, and expect Kevin to go back in net and probably maybe see Shilovs in Anaheim and go back to Kevin in
in LA.
LA and
Yeah, that
then
sounds about right.
Edmonton back home next week.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably how the goaltending should go. We'll see how it actually goes, but yeah, that's probably and hopefully, yeah,
Yeah,
get at least 4
and
points.
yeah, and a preview for next week for all you viewers. We're gonna have a special guest working out a few kinks. We're gonna have he's a goaltending expert, and I don't put that in quotations because he is a goaltending guru, and he's gonna join us, and we'll talk a little bit of goaltending next week.
Yeah, we'll have to throw some of our ideas on the Canucks goaltending at him and see what he thinks.
And maybe talk about the Four Nations tournament, because I want to get his thoughts on who will be Team Canada's goalie.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Without Carey Price, Team Canada goaltending has been not the greatest. So get his thoughts on that.
Okay. Yeah. Excited for that. That should be a good one. Yeah, as always, follow us on social media.
Deviant, and follow Raf. If you want to follow the main channel, it's a Canucks Chatter on Twitter.
Yeah, Canucks Chatter Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. And as you said earlier, if you have any questions or want us to talk about something, let us know.
Yeah, thanks to Nick Apollo for your question today. It was a great question about the power play.
Yeah. And don't worry, we have the answers here, so we're just going to go over it, tell the Canucks, and things will be okay by next week. All right, that's it for us. Thanks for tuning in.
Go Canucks go.